Assalamu alaikum, beautiful, and welcome to today's video, which is all about getting your finances together. If you are the type of woman who has a source of income, you're working in a 9 to 5, or you have your own business, there's money coming in, but at the end of the month, you have a feeling like you're living payslip to payslip because you have no understanding of where your money is going. This video is for you, inshallah, especially if you have specific financial goals that you want to accomplish, but you have no idea how to get there and it feels a bit overwhelming to look at your bank accounts. I'm going to teach you exactly what I did myself a few years ago to create a better relationship with my money, alhamdulillah. And I did that with the help of a financial coach. I hired her for a few sessions. She sat me down and she taught me what I'm about to teach you. And thanks to the basic knowledge that she shared with me, I was able to accomplish almost all of my financial goals. I've been able to save a lot of money to start investing in the stock market, to travel the world, to spoil my family. Anyway, alhamdulillah, I've done things that I never thought I was going to be able to do in such a short amount of time. And I want to show you that it's not that intimidating to look at your numbers and to start budgeting. Okay, so I'm taking a very lazy approach today by using Zoom. So I'm going to share my screen with you and we're going to pretend like we're doing this together. I've been lazy because I've been making a lot more money than I used to. So I haven't had to look at my money, but because I want to accomplish certain goals and big goals, as a matter of fact, I also need to get back on track with this. So we're doing this together, inshallah. So the first thing that you are going to do is open a document. So I work on Google Drive, so I'm going to open a Drive document. And you know what? Before I go into this, there's something that I need to mention very quickly. And maybe this is a video that I need to do separately, but if there was one step that you would need to start with when it comes to improving your relationship with money, it would definitely have to be fix your mindset when it comes to money in general. And what I mean by that is that a lot of us grew up in environments where our parents had a very negative relationship with money. They were either overspending or they were stingy. And so that impacted us in the way that we saw abundance and risk. And so if you have a fear of looking at numbers, if you are constantly worried about where money is going to come from or how much you're going to be able to spend that month, you probably have a lot of limiting beliefs about money. I'll tell you something. Having money is just like being in a relationship. If you don't pay attention to your partner, they're going to feel abandoned and they're going to leave you. And money is just the same as a partner. Like, you need to cherish it, you need to nurture it, you need to look at it and make it feel loved in order for it to stay and to grow. So think about it this way, like, you need to work first on your mindset when it comes to money, and you can do that by reading certain books. For me, the book that really changed my mindset when it comes to money is Secrets of Six-Figure Women by Barbara Stanny. I've listened to it as an audiobook and I still remember, subhanAllah. At the time, I was living in a house share because I couldn't afford having my own place. And listening to those stories of women who managed to put themselves in a situation where they were financially stable, but also thriving, really, really changed my mentality and the way that I saw money and the possibilities that I was able to create for myself because I saw what was possible for other women. So the first thing that you want to do is rework on that. You can read books about money mindset. You can buy journals about the topic. You can hire someone to do some work on that. This is the type of things that I do with my one-on-one mentees as well and my mastermind group. So anyway, let's get into the actual work. So you're going to open a document or you're going to take a pen and paper. You are going to start with establishing and identifying what are your money goals. Okay, so we have our nice document over here. And step number one is define the financial goals. So this is the list of things that you'd like to accomplish that are going to require a certain sum of money. Okay. And in life, that's pretty much everything, baby. The point of doing this before getting into the budgeting is to initiate a sense of motivation, a desire that will then make it easier for you to dive deep into the numbers, because that's not the easy bit. The easy bit is to sit down and think about, what are my dreams? What are my goals? And I'm going to give you a few examples of things that you should tackle in this category in order of logic. If you have any debt, the first thing that you want to do is clear out debt. Second thing is build a safety fund. And normally this would be between 3 to 6 months of your expenses. And you might be thinking, well, I don't know what my expenses are at the moment. That's completely fine. You will figure it out in one of the next few steps, inshallah. Once you've cleared out your debt, you've built a safety fund, now you can start thinking about other things, like, can I start investing? And investment can be for different reasons. A lot of the time it's going to be about putting money in an account for the long run and not touching it for many years. So here we're looking at a retirement fund, for example, or maybe an investment for a house that you intend on buying in the next 5 to 10 years or plus. And then you can start thinking about your personal projects. Here we're thinking travels, Umrah, Hajj, marriage, weddings, things like this. So obviously you don't need to restrict yourself and not live a good life with any passion or any sort of fun or traveling just because you haven't done all of these things. It doesn't work like that. You just have to have the wisdom to do a little bit of all of these things so that you find some sort of balance, if that makes sense. For me, for example, alhamdulillah, I've managed to build a safety fund, but I didn't wait until I had that perfect number before I invested in my personal projects. So you're going to go ahead and estimate the cost of each goal. You just have to go next to each one of those goals and put a number on it. So if you have 30K in debt, you put like 30K over here. You can leave this until you have an idea or a better idea of how much you spend per month for later. You can calculate how much you'll need for your retirement using some tools that you'll find on Google very easily. And the same thing for a deposit for a house. And the same thing for how much you want to start investing in. You can estimate, if you want to travel, for example, how much each trip is going to cost you, or how much each purchase is going to cost you. Like right now, I'm thinking about buying a Dyson. And a Dyson is an investment, but when you're 31, you must have a Dyson because otherwise, what are you doing? And so we're looking at like £600. So I know, okay, this is the cost of this project. This is the cost of this goal. Then at this point, we can start thinking about your current situation. So where are you at right now? We've had a look at the future, where you want to be. Now we need a clear idea of what is the current situation, meaning how much money do you have and where is it? So where is it in the sense of like, how many accounts do you have and how is that money split into those different accounts? You can make a table at this point with the different accounts and the amounts that's in each account. And this could be an opportunity to reflect on whether or not you might have too many accounts that you're not using or that you don't need. Or on the other hand, it could be that you need to create another account where you're going to put your savings, for example, because ideally the safety fund is a fund that you do not touch at all because it's only reserved for emergencies. And when we say emergencies, we don't mean that trip to Greece that you want to go to with your best friend because you feel like you need a mental break. We all need a mental break, Habibti, especially from the UK. So that's not an emergency. So the safety fund ideally does not have a card that you can use easily. It can be a debit account, of course, because as Muslims, we don't do interest, but it can't be easily accessible. So maybe you need to create another account just for that. I personally use Revolut because in Revolut, you have the possibility of creating vaults. There's no limits in terms of how many vaults you can create. So you can have one for a Umrah project, you can have one for your children, you can have one for fun that you want to have each month, and you can just forget about these pockets of money and keep on putting money in them automatically every month, and that works out really well. These are different from your current account. So when you're using your actual Revolut card, it doesn't touch the money that's in those pockets. Let's say the next step is organize your accounts. Now, this is where we start actually budgeting. And let me tell you something. I absolutely hate numbers. I did a bachelor degree in business and marketing. And when I was studying, one of our subject was bookkeeping, and I scored a 3 out of 20 in that subject. That's how bad I used to be at bookkeeping. As soon as I started making enough money to delegate in my small business, the first thing that I delegated was bookkeeping. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Samia, if you are watching this video, I love you for doing the bookkeeping of the company and for allowing me to not have anything to do with the numbers. So this is how much I hate numbers. However, I haven't hired a personal assistant to do my personal accounts just yet. So I do my budgeting, but I keep it as simple as possible. And if I can do it, me, the girl who failed at bookkeeping during her studies, you can do it too, Habibti. We're just going to look at something very simple. We're not going to complicate it at all. We're going to look at how much you're spending and how much you're making. And the way that we're going to look at your expenses is by picking some categories. I like to do it by hand first with something like this, which is just a budget planner from Tiger. And as you can see, it's just like simple columns where you put the name of the thing that you spent on and then the amount. And so what I do is that I write down categories. For me, for example, it's like clothes, eating out, grocery shopping, random shopping, gifts, car-related expenses, bills, travel expenses, because I do a lot of that. And then under those categories, I just put the amounts that I've spent related to each category. And then I do the sum of each one of them. And that gives me an idea of what I've spent my money on each month. And a lot of the time, that moment where you do your budgeting is a moment of realization, because with things like Apple Pay or even the watch type of payments, we don't realize how much we spend. And so at the end of the month, I'd actually realized that I've spent a lot more than I thought I did on eating out or like shopping for clothes that I didn't really need and things like that. So this is a really important part of the process because it allows you to make conscious decision and to become a lot more intentional about what you want to be spending on, inshallah. I know that the first time that you are going to do this, it's going to be really difficult because you might not have looked at your accounts in a long time, but I promise you it's so important to do it because right now you're living with the discomfort of not knowing what's happening with your money. So instead of fearing the discomfort of being aware of what's going on, fear that this horrible feeling of not being in control stays for the rest of your life. This is not an ideal situation. The discomfort of being aware is not going to last. It's only going to be temporary, and then you're going to get comfortable with your number and you're going to take better decision and you're going to be smarter with your money. You're going to start building up your saving and like being able to invest in your dreams, and it's going to be amazing. Trust me. This is the definition of freedom. Freedom comes with the discomfort of looking at the situation as it is right now. That's the first step. Keep it simple, and I'll show you a document that you can use after for this. And then you're going to list your income. So your salary, your dividends if you have a business, help from the government. It could be maintenance from your ex-husband if he's paying. So I'm going to show you the one that I use. And you know what? I'm going to create a template for you as well that you can just download for yourself in the description box below, inshallah. Just take that and make a copy for yourself so you can start using it. I'm not a professional in finance, so please forgive me if that document is not perfect. It was just a template that I got on Google Drive on Excel. So once I've done everything on paper for my expenses, I go ahead and I use this document. And if it's going to be your first time doing this, you're going to start with the starting balance in your account. Then you're not going to worry about this because you are going to do the budget for the month that has passed if it's your first time, okay? Just to get an idea of how much you spend each month. So you would not have planned ahead because it's your first time. I'll show you in a second when you can do this. You're going to duplicate the template and make sure that you create one for the month of August, okay? Don't use a template so that you can duplicate it every month and have at least one sheet that's empty. So you're going to put your expenses here. You can change these categories or add to them, of course. And then you're going to put your income, and then it'll give you an idea of how much you spent compared to how much you earn. Now, let's say it's the end of August and September is coming. What you're going to do is estimate your spending for September based on how you did on August and those new resolutions that you have. So you're going to go ahead and use this column here. So for food, let's say, so this is grocery basically. Let's say you spent a little bit too much money in Asda this month because you've indulged a little bit too much, and this month you actively want to change that, and you know that you can easily go a month without spending more than £200 on groceries. Put all of these numbers here. And at the end of September, now you're going to come back, you're going to look at your accounts and your spending, and you're going to put the actual number. So maybe you will have spent a little bit less than planned, and that's amazing. And the document will tell you that. Or maybe you will have spent a little bit more, and the document is going to show you that very clearly, but at least you'll know, okay, I've actually overstepped my budget. Is it a matter of me being a little bit more careful, or is it a matter of adjusting my expectations? And this takes time. Again, like you're not going to change like this. So give yourself some grace in that process. It takes a few months to be a lot more money conscious. And you are basically going to do this every month until you reach your goals. An ideal month is a month in which you've been able to put money aside to save or invest or pay back some debt. Now, let's say you get in a habit of doing this every month for a few months, and now you have a very clear idea of how much you need to spend every month and how much you're able to save or invest. The next best thing to do is to set up automatic transfers between your current account where your income comes in and your saving account or your investment portfolio. Why? Because if you give yourself a chance to spend the money that you're supposed to save or invest on random things, you will do that. Trust me. Do not even give yourself the chance to do it. As soon as your income comes in, have an automatic transfer that takes a part of that away from you and puts it in your saving account. That way, you're completely forgetting about that process. And when you look at your saving account a few months from the moment you started saving, there's that beautiful surprise of like, wow, subhanAllah, in like 6 or 12 months, I've been able to save this amount of money because I haven't touched it and I've just pretended like I didn't have it. And so sometimes it's really about forgetting that you have the amount of money that you have. Force yourself to pretend like you're living at a certain amount, which is the number that you need to pay for your necessity as opposed to pay for your wants. Especially if you are saving to pay off debt, or if you have this really beautiful goal of like buying a house for your mom, then forget about your wants for a second and think about how much you want that dream to turn into a reality. This is what's going to drive you forward. Think about it every day, visualize it, journal about it, talk about it with your friends. This is what leads me to the next step, which is stay consistent with this system. And that implies getting accountability partners. One of the things that I'm butchering every word, one of the things that really helped me get to where I am, alhamdulillah, in terms of my wealth or my wealth management is hiring a coach, having someone asking me the right questions and also checking on me and making sure that I was doing what I said I was going to do about my budget and my habits. And also having friends that are on the same journey of growing in terms of their investments, their saving, their projects, and pushing each other in that direction of doing what our higher self wants us to do as opposed to our lower nafs. Find a friend that can help you step into that version of yourself who stops herself from doing the things that she knows she's going to regret. I really hope this was beneficial. And again, I'm not a financial professional. I'm just a woman who once upon a time was broke, living in a house share, not able to buy anything for her daughter, and who was going to Aldi, literally using her phone as a calculator in order to make sure that she would not get to the till and have her payment denied, to being a woman who's able to pretty much afford anything that she wants, alhamdulillah. Apart from a G-Wagon, we're getting there. But yeah, I feel financially free. I feel independent. I feel positive about earning money, saving, investing. I have such a better relationship with money, alhamdulillah. So if you want to get to that place, follow these steps and let me know how it goes for you, inshallah. I hope this was not too overwhelming. I kept it as simple as possible because I am not a big number girl. So I hope that my number phobic sisters out there are gonna benefit from this Let me know in the comments below if this was helpful, and if you want more content about finances, I can do a whole video about money mindset and how to fix your money mindset. I can bring you some lessons that I've learned from the books that I've got about money mindset and from the work that I've done with my business coach as well. This is a topic that I love talking about because I'm passionate about generating money, growing wealth, saving, investing, all these things. I'm really into them. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video, inshallah. Ma as-salama, beautiful.